Now, as service providers and coaches, we prefer to save time and automate as much as possible. And that's really why AI is getting me, and hopefully you, very excited because it opens up so many possibilities. But there are a lot of things in AI that are just not quite ready yet. And I see a lot of people spending time on those rather than the less sexy and less obvious ways to use AI to save you a ton of time right now. So in this video, I'm going to rank the AI automations that are worth your time and attention and the one that are more hyped than anything else. So stick around because at the end of this tier list, you'll know exactly which AI automations you can start using today to save time and make more money. All right, so here we are with our tier list, and we're going to start with content marketing. And really, I'm going to bucket here everything from social media to newsletter to sort of text-based content and your blogs as well. And that one is going to be an easy B tier. I think that's probably the one that is one of the most used by most people when it comes to AI and just creating content using AI. And it's probably also the worst when it comes to doing something of quality that actually is going to help you and your business. Because here is usually what they do. So they will go to ChatGPT. Okay, so they're going to pop in here and then they're going to start asking the AI to come up with ideas for content they can use. So for example, they'll go ahead and say, help me come up with ideas for a LinkedIn post around the paleo diet. The great thing about AI is that even if you misspell, they will still understand. So it doesn't matter. So, and then the AI is going to come up and create a bunch of ideas for the content. And they're gonna be like, that's great. Now let me pick some of those IDs. I'm not even gonna bother reading through those things, but from these IDs, they will be like, great, can you now create a post using number 4. The AI will go ahead and create a post based on the ID number 4. And this is a post. And what most people would do is that they would take this, add a bit of their own insight, edit a few things here and there, remove the emojis, always too many emojis, and then they would just post that right away on LinkedIn. That's the wrong process. That's the wrong way and order of things to do. What you want to do is to first come up with an idea yourself based on your expertise and the problems that you know your audience has. Then you want to go ahead and draft a first post that comes out of your head and out of your insight. Then you want to give that to ChatGPT for editing only, not to come up with the IDs, not to come up with the first draft, but only for the editing stage. That's the right stage to use AI. You can use ChatGPT or Claude, that would work perfectly fine, but only at this later stage, which is the editing. Otherwise, this kind of post, I guarantee you, is not going to do well. It's just not the right way to, it's even going to use hashtags, which is not even a thing on LinkedIn. So again, it's just the wrong way to use AI for content marketing. So B tier, again, not because AI cannot produce good content if you give it the right things, but because most people use it wrong and it's a bit on the more overhyped way to use AI. So that's why it's going to be a B tier. Okay, so the next one I'm going to rank is the video and image generation, and there's been a ton of that recently with the new ChatGPT 4.0 image, and that one is going to be an easy C tier. Again, here we're talking about people that actually own a business, actually have to service clients, and for us, really, there's not that much value yet for these things. Now, there are more use cases than they used to be because, you know, we got to a point where the images actually can be good. Video, not so much, to be honest, but there are quite a few use cases for images, and I'm planning a whole different videos on that. So for example, if you're using it to sort of put an image to a thought or to sort of visualize something that you want to tell the clients or communicate to someone, then it's a great way to do that with those new image generation model. So as an example here, if I wanted to explain to a client what is a webinar funnel, then I can go in here and create a visual representation of the idea. Now, sometimes you're going to have to reprompt it. So for example, here, the first thing that it came up with wasn't that great. So I wanted to show more of a process. So after reprompting, then it shows sort of the more flow into the funnel, etc. So again, it's a great way if you're not a designer to sort of put an image to the thoughts and to help people visualize what you're talking about. But again, compared to most other things, it's not better than a C tier for me. All right, so next up, we're going to do email triage. And really by this, I mean anything that AI can help you to make this whole inbox nightmare a lot easier. So this one is going to be an A tier. So I mentioned this in another video, but mostly what I'm doing here is using AI to pre-draft answers to my email. So you have an email coming into your inbox. The AI is going to understand what the email is about. It's going to pre-draft a reply to you. It's not going to send it right away, but at least it's going to keep the draft in your inbox so that when you come in, it's already done the legwork of preparing an answer. You just have to edit a few things probably, add a bit more things, and then you're ready to send that over. It's a big time saver, and that's also something that AI can do pretty well. So that one is going to be A tier just because it's simple, it works, and it saves a bunch of time. Okay, lead nurturing, and that's going to be our second C tier. And by lead nurturing, what I mean is going to be from when you've acquired the lead all the way to closing a lead. So that's going to be sort of the whole sales process. And I've seen AI tools and AI companies that pretend that they can just close deals for you, but from my experience, it's not really working. What you probably want to have here is some kind of human in the loop kind of thing. So sometimes it can be good to be available for a lead 24/7 to answer some basic questions, but it's not going to be doing the closing just yet. So it's more customer support than lead nurturing, as in obviously what we want to do with a lead is to close it. It's not just to answer questions about the program or the product. So for that step, it's pretty good. But when it comes to actually closing and making a sale, then that's when you still want to have a human in the loop. Next up, we're going to do website design, and that's going to be another B tier. Again, pretty overhyped right now. I see a lot of people saying that if you don't need a website designer anymore, you can just, with a few prompts, create your website and it's all ready to go. And I've seen a lot of demos that make it look a bit better than it actually is. So if you use tools like Lovable or Gamma, which are really good tools, it makes it look like with just a few prompts, you can get that done. But understand that building a website is not just about the front end and the design. It's also all of the back end, the functionality that you need to make a sale, to have a cart, to have email capture, to have funnel, to have multiple things that are just not possible with just the design part of things. And that's why using a proper CMS is probably still the better option yet for most people. But what it can do really well though is to allow you to create mockups for your websites just using prompts. To have a good idea of what you want, and then you can pass this on to a designer that works on a CMS. I think that everyone can easily edit. That's probably the best way to go for most people right now. Okay, so next up is file organization, and that's going to be our first S tier. And that's because that's another example of what AI can do really well. It's very simple, but it can save you a ton of time. So mostly what I'm talking about here with file organization is going to be the creation of a RAG system. And I talked about this in my previous video on how to do this yourself with n8n. But really a much easier way to do this, if you're already using Google Drive, for example, is to use Microsoft Notebook LM. And essentially, again, what a RAG is just a place where you're going to put all your files and you're going to be able to prompt the AI to go and retrieve a specific information into one of those files. So just as an example to show you in Notebook LM, I've uploaded a bunch of reviews that I made about different platforms, and that's going to be something you can do directly by drag and dropping here, or you can connect it to your Google Drive, to your website, to different things. But once you've uploaded all of that content, then you'll be able to, in this chat window, ask for a question and get an answer back. So let me go ahead and do a test right here. So again, we have all of these reviews of different platforms where I review the features, the pricing, the different things that you should know before purchasing the platform. So I'm going to go ahead and do a test and ask it, what is the cheapest pricing plan for Circle? So Circle is a membership community platform. And it says that the basic plan at $39 a month is the right answer. So I'm going to just double check to show you here, but that's correct from what I remember. So we have features, and then we should have the pricing right here. And the basic plan at $39 is indeed the cheapest plan. So that's a really easy way to organize your files and then be able to easily find information within a ton of files, prompt the AI, and get the answer back. So just for that, that is S tier for me. Next up, we have customer support, and that's going to be another A tier. And so for service providers and coaches, what I'm talking about here is to create a custom GPT that could reply to questions that your clients have 24/7. Because I'm sure a lot of time in your emails, it's mostly questions from your clients that you have answered a bunch of times. So sometimes you can also just create videos and have a library and resources that they can access 24/7 without having to answer you. But it's probably a lot better to have a custom GPT and a chatbot that they can actually prompt anytime they want to sort of get access to your second brain and get those answers. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about here. So if you go to Explore GPTs, you'll be able to create your own GPT and configure it. It works very much like projects if you use that before in ChatGPT, but essentially the same thing. So give it a name, description. That's just for you internally, or just as a description. Respond to all my beloved clients' questions. So that could be the description of your GPT. The instructions are going to be the sort of system prompt that you give it. So that's where you give it a bit more context about what you do, what kind of clients you have, what problems they typically have, and you can give it sort of the way to reply. So I'm going to give you a template that you can use. So the first step is going to be to give a bit of context to the AI. So you are a helpful assistant responding to my client's request and questions about my fitness program. That would be sort of the general message. Then I want to get a bit more specific about what I would typically do. I run a program on the paleo diet, and most of my clients want to ask questions about the diet, exercise, what they can and cannot eat, substitution. Okay, so that's for a bit more context. Now let's tell it usually the sort of way we want it to reply. You will always be polite and professional, casual. If you don't know the answer, be honest and tell the client to reach out to me at this email address. So email@me.com. I can also maybe ask it to define some words that the client may be wondering about. So don't use too much jargon, or if you do, make sure to define these terms. There's a few more things that you may want to add in terms of the context or the way specifically you wanted to respond. But this is a pretty good start. A conversation starter could be useful here. So that would be the first message that the custom GPT asks the client before they ask a question. So for example, I'm Paleo AI, Joey's assistant. What can I help you with today? Okay, and then the next important part is going to be to upload knowledge. So that's just files and things that the AI is going to be able to access in order to be able to respond to those questions. So that's where you would upload a knowledge base and information about your program, about your way of approaching the program and the topic, and everything essentially that the AI will need to answer those questions. So that can be an FAQ, that can be just any documents from your program that will help the AI to find the answers to the questions that the clients will be asking. And then once you're done with the setup, I would recommend to prompt the GPT yourself, fine-tune it, just to make sure that it has enough context, it has enough information to give good outputs, and then you're ready to share that over with the client. And last but not least, lead generation, which is going to be another easy S tier for me. And so here I'm talking about the whole process of acquiring a new lead. So from finding them to enriching them, to reaching out with a custom message in order to interest them into becoming a client. And that's really something AI can do, from scrapping new leads to enriching them using AI, doing some research in the background into all of those leads, adding more information. That's really what enriching the leads meaning that you have maybe a name or an email and you want to add and find more information about that person, their LinkedIn profile, what they do, other things they've done in the past, just any information that you can find. That's how you enrich a lead so that you have more information to then reach out to them on multiple platforms with a custom message. Again, all of those things are things that AI can do really well. And there are several platforms and tools that will help you do this. So for example, we have Apollo AI, which is really just a big database full of leads that have already been enriched for the most part, and just a lot of information about those people. You can see here an example of what it looks like, but usually you'd have a name, their industry, their job position, the company they are associated with, email, phone number, LinkedIn profile, and just really high quality leads that you can reach out directly. So using something like Instantly, which is mostly a CRM that is AI powered, but essentially it's going to help you to first warm up your email address so that you don't end up in spam when you cold outreach to those people, and then allowing you to write customized messages using AI. So essentially you would give it all of the information about those different leads, and based on all of that information that we've gathered, it would be able to create a custom message for that person, send the email, maximize both the chances that you have to get into their inbox, and then once they open email, maximize your chances to convert those leads into a client. And this is my tier list, whether you like it or not. So let me know in the comments if you would change anything. I mentioned a few automations that I talk about in a different video about 4 simple AI automations for service providers. So you can go ahead and watch that video right now. Or if you just want to keep up to date with how to use AI in your coach or service provider business, you can subscribe to my free newsletter. That's going to be in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.